All right, everybody, this is Anthony Brogdon on Strong Inspirations, where, man, I got to tell you some news. How about this? We went over 500 subscribers yesterday or day before. People hitting that button. I've had nights where I've had 30 people hit that subscribe button. I want to explode and get to 5,000 by the end of the year. It's too much information on this channel where we give it to you straight, no chaser. I'm letting these people, like the guy that's coming on now, man, I'm so excited he's on the channel. He posts some stuff that blew my mind. I hit him a message somehow, and my man said, okay, how about this? And he's so excited, he a half an hour early. He came on early. What's happening, though, I got to be a little more cognizant on this note. The time changes, you know what I mean? I'm in Eastern Standard Time here in Detroit. I'm running into people Central Time, Pacific Time. I got an interview with a lady out of Ireland, and I thought they were just 4 hours ahead. They were 5 hours ahead. And I got to reschedule it. I'll just be honest with you. Not on my part, she was gone. And it hurt my heart. She sent me a message saying, where are you? I hope everything's all right, because I got to tell it. Let's do it next week. I said, I'm so excited you will accept my apology. Things are happening on this channel. Watch the guy that is coming on right now that's on me. He got some information that he an expert. He might be the best of all time because he goes so far back. They didn't even have records. He reading hieroglyphics. He that good. My man read the wall in Africa and said, there go my family. His family wrote on the wall. You know, I'm just really, making light of it. But watch what he tell you. He go that far back. He that good. Come on, my friends, do this. Hit the subscribe button on the channel. It's free. You're watching me. I know you're watching me because I feel how many people watching. And all you got to do is when you finish watching, hit the subscribe. It don't give no information, nothing. It don't cost nothing. Hit the like button on this video. Because if you don't like nothing else, can you imagine going that far back, finding your roots? And I'm going to ask him what it do for him. How about that? Hit the notifications bell, because I got so many interviews I'm doing now because I'm covering a little bit of everything. And I'm enjoying this a lot. And as a result, I'm putting up 4 or 5 videos a week now. I'll put one up and 10 minutes later put another one up, because it really just it's no schedule, because it comes down to, it's on my heart that right then I want to share something with you all, my friends, you intelligent, conscious people out there in the world, because I got a lady that followed me out of Cairo. I didn't know what to say, but just be safe. I didn't know what to say to her. And the lady out of Ireland, she following me and all that kind of stuff. And she 5 hours ahead, not 4. And do that. And how about this? Hit this, tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Just whisper to them, send them a note, send them an email, forward one of the videos, send them a text message, a smoke signal with Strong Inspirations. Get it to them somehow and tell them kids, sit down with them youngsters. You can watch this on your TV, on them smart TVs. You can watch it on your TV. Just go on, you watching Netflix and Hulu's and Tubi's and all that. You got YouTube on there. All you do is go to YouTube, sign in, and put in Strong Inspirations and choose one of them videos. And I try to make them short enough so that you don't lose interest. You won't lose interest, I think, but make it short enough so it's good for you. Eat some popcorn while you watch it. And then talk about what you just heard. Do that on this video for sure. Talk about what you just heard, because my man gonna make it plain on you. He's smiling. The other things I want you to do is You know, I'm good at my game too. This is a movie I've done called Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. How slaves went to college. People don't know that. And it's easy to understand because there were 3 HBCUs open before slavery ended. And they had to, you know, either themselves or they were free people, I'm sure, but man, they could have been, you know, just out of slavery. Or their folks was out of slavery, something. There was some slavery in their situation anyway. When I talk about that, I talk about them Black business people going back to slavery days in my movie. I interview the sons and daughters of a Black-owned cemetery that was started in 1925. When they wouldn't bury Black people, these Black people, their great-great-grandfathers and whatnot, grandfathers, decided that, hey, we're gonna buy some land and we're gonna come up with our own cemetery. And I'll tell you what's so funny about the story. They didn't do it in the city. They did it in the suburbs where them white folks didn't know what was going on. And they look up and see them coming out there with a caravan, a black car, and stuff like that. Say, what's happening? We got a burial. Then they tried to sue them and close it down and lost. 1925, that's how vicious. They didn't want us to bury. We underground. Black-owned cab companies. And the movie starts with a guy that at the time was 101 years old. He opens and he closes the movie. And one of the things funny, he said, y'all can't tell me nothing. I'm 101 years old. He lived to be 103. It's in my movie. It's streaming on Amazon. And then the other thing, I know my man waiting, but come on, I got to go through my spiel just a little bit longer, my friend. I wrote this book. I wrote it. Took me about a year to do all this research. I even went to the Library of Congress in DC and sat there and looked intelligent and wrote this book on similar topic as the movie, but it's more facts. I found some stuff and I named some names that I know you don't know. And if you know them all, I give your money back. You know everything in my book, I give you money back. I'm that confident. I've had scholars go through this book and couldn't come up with nothing that they knew it all. But if you're that good with you, I give you money back. If you want it back, share it with somebody. Read the book. It's real easy. I don't give no commentary. I just let the facts stand on its own. And I tell you stuff like, how about this? I named 30 districts across cities across the country where them folks ran a highway through and destroyed the Black business area. They ran through 2 freeways through ours in Detroit. Ran them right through. They tricking the people talking about, hey man, we looking to see what we can do for the neighborhood. Yeah, I know what y'all want to do. Y'all tore the houses down, put a freeway right through there. I named 30 of them in my book, and about 150 Black-owned businesses. And I named the lady that Madam C.J. Walker worked for. Yeah, you know, it was in the movie, but it's in my book for sure. And my book, very reasonably priced, because I want you to have it. It don't make sense for me to have copies sitting in the box in my basement. So I make it where you just go ahead and you got this much money. I don't even tell you how much it is, but when you get there, you can buy 2, 3 of them for the same price you buy for a drink at the bar. You can buy my book, man. And I autograph it. Every 10th book I sell, I donate one to a school. Get you a copy and get it on my website, businessintheblack.net, not .com, not .us, .net, businessintheblack.net. Go there and order your book. I'll ship it out the same day because I got a fresh order of them. I don't want to keep them in my basement. I want you to have this. Do that for me, my friends. Last thing, y'all hear me talk about this word strong a lot? And I've been using it a long time. One lady said, hey, you need to come up with a brand word of yours. And boom, there it was. It was strong. I like it. And strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. That is my introduction to my brother that's on the channel right there. He's a strong man. I have to check him out. And that's what people say about him. Come on, introduce yourself and let's get it on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Lee McCoy, Jr., and I am from Huntsville, Alabama. I'm also what people call a subject matter expert. I have a master's degree in engineering, and I love history. I've been a straight A student in history since elementary school. But because of my interest in history, I became an amateur genealogist.
Okay,
especially
before you get there, I interrupt my guest every now and then because I got to get on you, my brother. You was a good student for you to love history that young. You like reading and that kind of thing.
Yep. I basically is because of the fact I wanted to know who I am, where I came from. I used to ask my grandparents about their family, and especially my grandfather, my dad's father. He really didn't know too much about his family. All he knew was his grandfather. And my family started doing what I call family reunions when I was young. They stopped for a while. And then after I started having kids, I wanted my children to know who their family is. Then I stopped for a while and my kids started having kids.
Yeah.
And that really pushed me into getting back into the genealogy. And I wanted my grandkids to know who they are, where they came from, and why our family is what I would call a strong Black family. We have a lot of doctors, politicians, business owners.
I love it.
So I want to give them something so that they can see about their family and be able to build upon.
Growing up, did you see some racial stuff in your life? Did something happen to like one of your parents one day that was where they ran into some racism type thing?
My parents moved us from Alabama to Ohio when I was 18 months old. My mother told me the reason why. My dad went to a library because the school that my oldest sister was attending wanted her to have a book, to do a book report. He went to the library and he ran into racism. And he stated that was the last part of it. He didn't want his children to be dealing with it here in the South. So he moved us up to Ohio, and I left and went down to Florida, attended Florida A&M, and I ran into racism in Tallahassee.
I use this term, everybody. I don't mean no disrespect. Have you ever been called a nigger?
Yeah,
really?
One time I went, there was a young lady that worked at this health clinic, and I was asked to go pick her up to bring her to the job. She lived with her parents. And so I drove to go pick her up, and I blew my horn. Her dad came outside, saw me waiting for her, and he called me every name but the Son of God. And that's where the first time I ever heard the term nigger. This little old white lady, never forget it. To this day, I still can see her in my face.
Yeah.
I'm sitting out on the front stoop at the front door. I had one of my engineering books. Little old white lady looked at me going, "I didn't know y'all could read." Shocked the heck out of me. And I looked at her, and what my response was, "We sure enough can." Really? And I switched like I'm doing now and told her, "Actually, ma'am, I'm in college and I'm studying to be an engineer." She was totally shocked. And she went right back into her apartment and closed the door because I basically embarrassed her. About a year ago, I was at a Lowe's. This old white man walks up to me. Then the next thing he knows, he's going, I bet you don't know anything about picking cotton. I was like, say what? And he's going, have you ever picked cotton? And I didn't know what to say. So what I told him, look, sir, I don't need to pick cotton. I can pay your behind to go out there and pick pork.
Get him.
And his wife heard me say that. She rushed over, grabbed him by the arm, and she said, sweetheart, bring your butt on here. You're embarrassing everybody.
Get him. Because I've told people, I think, and I've never lived in the South other than I did, I lived in Atlanta for 5 years, but I mean, this is, in the 80s. If somebody would have called me a nigga, I'd say, man, maybe I got more money than you.
Yeah, it was a call. Basically, I blew him off like that, but my answer kind of shocked him. And I told him, like I said, I can pay you to go out there and pick it for me, pick it raw, pick it by hand, and give you a bag to go pick it. While I'm sitting back, drinking a mint julep while you're out there in the fields. I can do that. Like I said.
Okay, so how about this then? We're going to get to the story in a minute, but you got me rolling here. I want people to hear this. Your father deciding to leave Alabama and move to Ohio, yes, influenced you in the way of, not that he's running, but he's just tired of this, or what? Because there's a dynamic there.
He was tired of it. My family still lives here in Alabama. A lot of them grew up. We used to come back down, and some of these stores, the owners were white, and they would make comments. And with me growing up in Ohio, not dealing with racism, my cousins had to drag me out of the store because I was about to go off on the
really?
And they're going, Junior, don't do that. You don't live here. We do. We got to deal with all this. So yeah, I've always been a radical. My grandparents used to tell me when we were moving to Ohio, I used to, how the trains were segregated?
Yeah. I
used to basically escape them and head toward the white section. I got caught several times by the porters.
Really?
I'm going into the white section. I was a radical when I was an infant. I'd never allowed anybody to label me as what they would say inferior and everything else. Now I kind of got an idea because of the things I found out about my ancestors. Okay,
we're gonna get to them. How about this? I got one more question. How about this one? I hope you don't mind I ask you this. How did your relatives who stayed feel towards y'all leaving?
They didn't say,
you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're stating, because as a matter of fact, there was several generations that actually left Alabama and Georgia. They moved north to New York, Boston, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Cincinnati. I found a whole group of my family living out in California, down in Texas. A whole group of them living down in Florida. They've been down there since the mid 1880s. My family just went to the Four Winds right after slavery.
What? Okay, I got to stay on this. Just 2 more minutes, man. 1 more question. 2 more questions, man. If you were the kind of guy you are now, growing up like that, could you have put your life on the line to make a change? You know what I'm saying? How deep is a person to say, I know I might even get killed for this, or I might have to go to jail for this, but I can't take it no more?
Actually, there's been a couple of times that it almost happened to me.
Really?
Yes. I've got stopped by the police several times. Never forget, I was in college, driving from Tallahassee to Columbus, Georgia, went through Thomasville, Georgia, and on US 27, right between Buckley and Berkeley, Georgia, I got stopped by the sheriff from out of Blakely, out in the middle of the boonies.
You wasn't speeding.
Wasn't speeding. The speed limit was 55. I was actually doing 45 because this was on a Friday. Just got through taking my last exam. I was in no big hurry getting to Columbus. All I cared about was getting there safely. And all of a sudden,
Hold on. You said getting there safely. You had to worry about that, though? That was something that was in your heart, that I got to worry about getting there safely?
Yes. This is back in the 70s. Yeah.
Oh man. So when you left, you thought, man, I got to play it cool so I can get there safely.
Yeah. Because basically,
I agree with you, because when I went down to Birmingham and I drove from Atlanta to Birmingham and went to Montgomery, I thought of that, and this was in 2000.
There are areas that's in Alabama. Some of y'all may know the term sundown town.
Yes.
That is what some of the things I had to deal with.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt. So now you driving on the road, and
yes,
and you're doing 45.
Yes.
He makes a U-turn when he sees you?
I went through a police check, gave my ID. They saw that where I was coming from, no problem. But as soon as I got to outside of Blakely, all of a sudden, I see this police car coming out of there, no lights and everything else. So I'm still not paying attention, going about my business, and all of a sudden, I'm wondering what happened to him, because there's no turnoff and they didn't pass me. So I'm wondering what's going on. So I look to my left, and there's the deputy sheriff hanging out the car with a shotgun aimed at my head.
Wow.
And I immediately put both hands on the steering wheel, stopped the car, and middle of the highway. And the deputy sheriff continued having the gun aiming up at my head. The sheriff got out, and I can see in my peripheral vision behind me, the sheriff behind me, he's got his gun aimed at my head. The deputy sheriff gets out of the car, taps on the window, tells me to roll down the window. And what I did was I reached over with my right hand across my left hand, rolled the window down, and he tells me, stick my hand out the window. I stuck my hand out the window, and then he said, he handcuffed my right hand, and he said, stick out your left hand. I stuck out my left hand, he handcuffed me. They yanked me out of the driver's seat, put me in the back seat of their vehicle. The sheriff got into the driver's side of their vehicle, and the deputy got in the driver's side of my car, and they took me out to some way out of the way farm.
You scared at this point?
Oh, I'm not scared. I'm upset because I know I wasn't speeding, but I tried to maintain because of the fact they took me out to some little white farm, and I knew what happened to Emmett Till and all the rest of the civil rights workers that play it cool, because you gotta remember, there's no cell phone at that time and everything else. I could have easily appeared during that time period and nobody knew where I was.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, they get on the radio, they call back down to Blakely and told the highway patrol, we called and you want us to bring him back down to Thomasville? And the highway patrol says, no, we'll meet you up where you're at. They told them what farm. Highway patrol shows up 2 hours later. Next thing you know, they pulled my car apart inside out. I had my Navy ROTC uniform in the back seat, all of my school books, papers, and everything else. They took the seat out. It's like they were searching for something but couldn't find anything. After holding me there for another 4 hours, they let me go. And I had to put everything back in, the seats, my books, Paper was flying all over the place. And there was one person, he was a young highway patrolman. He was the only one that kept me calm. If it wasn't for him, I may not be here today.
Wow, my God.
And he was white.
Did they apologize?
Heck no.
They just said, okay, it ain't you, go, bye.
Yes.
Have you been back to that town?
Gone through the town, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you really.
Yes, I had to. In order to leave Tallahassee to go to Columbus, Georgia to visit my family, I had to go through that town on US 27 North. I've actually got stopped by the police because of the car I drive, my present car that I drive. They thought that I stole it, hijacked it from somebody. So that's one reason why I will tell a lot of people, no matter how much education or how successful you are and you're Black, you're still going to be suspicious of doing something.
So now we you start, where's the first place that you started researching? What was your first move?
My first move was actually dealing with my grandparents. You start with what you know. Since I had all four of my grandparents in my life, both my parents was in my life until they both died 10 years apart from cancer. But I started with my parents, my grandparents, and I had some information dealing with my great-grandparents. But depending on which side, I even had more than that. I had information dealing with my two-time great-grandparent. So you take what you know, and that's where I started. And doing the research, especially on my mother's side, I knew that her grandmother's name was Mary Adams. So I started researching for Mary Adams. I found her death certificate, her marriage license to my great-grandfather, Dave Davis. And so I started there, and I started on her marriage certificate. Her death certificate had listed her mother's name, and which was kind of interesting. Her mother's last name was McKinley, and her name was Harriet McKinley. But it had something that kind of caught me. It stated that she was a mulatto.
Okay. I don't like that term.
Well,
I don't like mulatto. It don't sound right.
Well, you got to understand history.
I like biracial, but I don't like mulatto.
Back during that time, during slavery and all the rest of that, mulatto wasn't what we consider today.
Okay.
Mulatto back during that time, a lot of times it is somebody who is white that is in a marriage or relationship with somebody Black.
Okay.
So you got to understand the term back during then. But there was something else that also bothered me.
Right.
Her husband, is how he was labeled. And I was like, that's kind of odd. But looking for Harriet, I found some stuff that showed that she was actually a white woman. She wasn't Black. Found out that her husband was biracial, but he was free during slavery. His name was Jefferson E. Adams. And that was kind of weird. I found the information about his mother. His mother's name was Hannah.
Okay.
Hannah stayed with the guy who enslaved her even after slavery. They end up living up in Tennessee. I know where she's buried at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got information as for that. But what's really interesting is The guy who enslaved her, he was married. He had children by his wife, but Hannah gave him 2 children, a son and a daughter.
Mhm.
And she stayed with him even after slavery. So those things kind of bothered me. It was like, that's kind of odd. But then
It's kind of odd
Harriet,
that she stayed.
it seemed like there was more than just she was enslaved. It seemed like she may have been in love with him, because why would you stay with him and up until the day he died?
Oh, I got you. That's right. That don't make sense. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
So, but then Harriet seemed kind of odd. I found out through my research there was an enclave of free people of color during slavery down in that area of Alabama, Russell County. That's where my family's from. And Harriet turns out to family lived in that enclave of black people. So that's how she met my 2-time great grandfather. They fell in love, got married. She was about 17, according to the information I have. She bore him a lot of children. So I started researching Harriet's family. I found out that she was actually the second oldest of 9 children that her parents had. I started researching her parents as to who their parents were, and I just kept going back and forth. And her lineage went from Alabama into Georgia, into South Carolina, then North Carolina, and then went into Virginia. As soon as I got into Virginia, her line went straight over to England. And when it got over to England, I started seeing dukes, earls, and her family asked for her ancestors. And then next thing you know, started seeing kings and queens and princesses and prince and everything else. I was like, this is really odd. It turns out that Harriet is related to all the royal family of England.
Wow. Okay, hold on, let me stop you right there. Let me do this. When you saw Virginia, what kind of record did you see that tied her to the kings and queens that you're talking about out of Africa? What is a record that says that, maybe?
The records, what was strange is the records sent me back over to England. The records listed her ancestors as born in certain parts of England, but they died here in the United States. So because of what I have access to data records around the world, birth records, baptisms, newspapers. I have access to everything.
Really?
I have told people, if you piss me off, I can ruin your credit. And they're talking about, what do you mean? I'm going, I can get access to wherever you lived at, your social security numbers, your parents' information. I can get access to all of it. It's easy to end up doing if you know how to do it.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I followed the records, her family's records, all the way back to England, because like I said, it lists her many-time great-grandparents born over in England, the city, the year, the date, the month. And I just followed that information back to over there. And it led me to the royal families of Europe, France, Germany, England, Finland, Holland. And there was somebody that popped up that was over in Russia. I was like, whoa, this is all getting really weird. So I started following one of her family line, and it led me out of England into France, and it led me back to Charlemagne the Great, the first king of France, who I am the descendant from. Charlemagne is his oldest son.
Mm.
Well, I followed Charlemagne's line, and it goes all the way back to Italy. Well, here's something a lot of people didn't pick up. One of Charlemagne's meantime great grandfather was a Roman general.
Okay.
The general was stationed down into what we call today Angola. The general actually married an African princess from Angola. So
He's a white
everybody,
guy, evidently, right?
Italian, white, yeah.
And he marries this black woman princess.
And everybody who was a descendant from them actually got a little bit of African DNA in them. My research on that, continue on that line, went as far back as 250 BC. But here's also the other thing. I had a lot of white people showing up, and they kept wondering how we were related. They saw their ancestors listed in my family tree. They tied their family tree with mine. I got one white cousin, I think he's like a 6th or 7th cousin. He found in my tree a common name. We share a many time white great grandparents. And he tied his tree with mine. Doing all this genealogy, you never know who you're related to.
Right.
I found out through on my dad's side, my 2-time great grandfather, nobody in my family knew that he had any siblings. I always suspected he did, but we had no proof. I found an 1880 census record with him, my 2-time great grandmother, my great grandfather, and my great aunt, my oldest great aunt, living there. And there was one kid listed in that census record that blew my mind.
Okay.
And it stated the kid's name was Alston, his last name McCoy. And it said the relationship to head of household as nephew. And it was like, whoa, with nephew. I sent that information to all of my relatives. Everybody was like, we never knew about this kid. So I went and searched for Austin's parents. I found him. His dad's name was Samuel Washington McCoy. Okay. His mother's name was Harriet. And I found Samuel left Alabama, went to South Carolina, and something happened to his wife. I think she probably died from the flu or something. And then he ended up getting remarried. Him and his wife moved to Memphis, and they left Memphis, went to St. Louis. There's a whole group of McCoys living in St. Louis, and it turns out they're related to me. I found out that my 2-time great grandfather had a twin brother. Nobody in our family knew about it, but our family has a lot of twins, which in order for that to take place, that means that you had to have twins in the past.
Right.
I found out that he had 3 sisters, and it turns out 2 of those sisters were twins, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I found out he also had 2 other brothers. And it turns out what my family always said is another set of McCoys down there in Russell County, Alabama. It's not another set. They're actually another branch of the McCoy family. They're a descendant of one of his younger brothers. Found that out. There is another branch of our family, which is related to me through my great-grandmother, Josephine Evans. It turns out that this other family, under a totally different name, are descendants of my two-time great-grandfather, one of his three sisters. Because of the fact that I looked at my other cousins who took the DNA test, and I was just playing around one day and stuck in their family name. Lo and behold, every member of that family who's related to me shows up with my cousins, who is a different branch of the McCoys, plus the other branch of McCoys that I discovered also shows up as being common. So the question comes down to is, how can this whole branch be related to all the McCoys?
Okay.
And their male helper group is not a match to any of the McCoy male helper group. The only way it can be is they're descended from a woman.
Right.
So that's how we were able to figure out that they are a descendant of my two-time great-grandfather, one of his three sisters.
All right, let me stop you there, I guess, just in this regard. How much time you spending on doing this, man? I mean, that's a lot of finding. How many years you been doing it? And sometimes you get caught up and now it's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and you just forgot about the time?
Yes. I also help other people to find their family. I've been helping, people have reached out to me and I've helped them locate their biological mother and father. If their biological mother and father has passed away, I've helped them find siblings, uncles, aunts.
Yeah. Are you a part of the societies, the Genealogic Society and all them groups?
I belong to several different groups.
Okay. Yeah. How does it make you do this, and then what do you get out of it when you do it?
What I get out of it is just a good feeling of being able to help somebody.
But I'm saying for yourself, even in your family, now that you know this, what does that do for you?
There's some mixed feelings in my family about it.
Some people don't want you doing it, do they?
Correct, because of the fact I have discovered people who enslaved our family, but it turns out they're related to us.
Yeah, I can imagine that. No, hold on. Because they had relations with somebody in your family. That's how they related. That's what you mean.
Yes.
And you found the people who were the enslavers.
Yes, but like I said, Harriet wasn't an enslaver. She married a man that was biracial. She wasn't a enslaver, but then 3 of my grandparents, it was through rape.
Yeah.
I found the name of one of my 3-time great-grandmother. She had 9 children. She was born in South Carolina in 1807. She died here in Alabama in 1910. She was 103.
Right.
One of her sons is biracial. I found out the name of his father, and I found that out because of the number of white people who were related to me. I was able to go through their family, talk with them, and I was able to deduce his name. And I got it verified about early this year because another young lady who was white pops up. She is a descendant of this one guy's grandson. That verified as to who would be my 3-time great-grandfather that was a white man. It turns out that actually the old boy had more than 30 kids by 30 different women.
And all black, not all black women.
My line is the only black descendants he's had. Okay. All the rest of them are all white.
Would you want to meet the white people that enslaved somebody in your family?
I've already done it. It's no biggie to me. We all acknowledge that it happened, it was wrong, and all the rest of that. Really? I've actually met one of my white cousins when I went on travel to California on business. She and I and her husband actually had dinner. My ancestral last name, McCoy, is Bay Muhammad, but it turns out our DNA actually goes back to Ramsey III. So oh my God. Ramsey is my Ramsey III is my many-time great-grandfather. So I am a mixture of what people call royalty on all sides of my family.
I'm gonna have to stop him somewhere because my man got the rolling them. I got no more questions. I got no more questions. I can't think of nothing else to say. But I'm gonna stop there, brother. We can come back one more time when you're ready. You an expert, man. Everybody here expert on the channel. He's good, gooder and good. Probably the best. Everybody, this is what I do on Strong Inspirations. I tell you what happened was he posted some about all these families. I said, hey man, I sent him a message, you want to come on the channel? That's how I found him. And that's what I do, everybody. I look for folk to tell stories of all types. Strong Inspirations, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Don't cost no money. I don't ask no information. Just hit it. Let me know you're watching. Like this video. Like this video for sure. You need to like this video. Hit that notifications bell. It's free. When the video is posted, you get a ding because you want to be the first to watch it. And tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. I don't care how you tell them. Pass them a note, whatever, but just tell them, hey, check it out. My man doing a good job. And he's got some good information. Good people come on there and he don't do nothing but let them do the talking like I did as best I could today. I ain't got nothing else on this one. Everybody, do all those things. Watch my movie, Business in the Black. It's on Amazon. Read my book. Get a copy of it. I'll autograph it for you. I sure will. My writing is bad because that's just how I am, but I will autograph it. You'll like to read it. It's good. It's good information. On businessintheblack.net. And to you, my brother, I say this with all sincerity, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I want you to do this. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love what you're doing. You be careful down there. And don't give up that car for them. Don't give up the car. Just let them know who you are and say, hey, man, it's my ride. You might want to put a note on the back seat or something. I don't know, in the window, man. Just because I'm driving this Bentley don't mean it. I'm driving this Maserati and whatnot. It's mine. I earned this. Yeah, and that's what I want to ride. Don't give up the car. And stay safe, stay strong. Keep doing what you're doing in this history and genealogy, finding your people. Write a book. Chronicle, tell people how you did it so others can do it, because I know there's people out there that really want to follow in your footsteps in that regard. And so with that, I say, bye-bye, we out. All right. Peace.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.